self-serving, persuasive talkers
of everything and nothing.
We are conversation con artists.
What's going on, people? I am Calamity Red, and I can be found on Twitter at red_calamity.
And I am Mr. On Point. And you can find me at Twitter on Mr. MISTER_on_point.
And this is a special edition of Conversation Con Artists. We decided that we wanted to do kind of a themed episode. So instead of the current event type stuff that we normally do, today we thought we would come and talk about our own personal experiences with being in our 30s as opposed to how it was when we were in our 20s. Because some stuff changes. You don't think that it will, but shit changes when you're in your 30s.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
We knew 30 years too.
We're new 30 years, yeah. We not like
we spend a lot of time in our 20s. We haven't spent that much time in our 30s, but it's some differences.
There's a couple of differences, but before we begin with all of those differences, we want to go ahead and mention the website.
www.conversationconartists.com. Go to check out the links to our episodes, our current episodes, as well as an opportunity to leave us some feedback, mail, or anything that you want to communicate to us.
So, yeah, let's get started with the show.
Let's get started.
So, there are a couple of things that have changed, I think, for me, from college, because that's college time is like your 20s and when you first get out of college as opposed to now. The biggest thing that I notice is how secure in myself that I am. Like, I don't question things as much. Like, I am who I am, and flaws and all. And I'm completely okay with that shit. Like, I curse a lot, and I'm okay with that. Like, I like tattoos. Like, I don't think about how other people are going to feel so much about stuff before. You know, when you're in your 20s, you want to... You care so much about how people feel about things that you kind of take that into consideration when you're doing shit. Like, now, if I wake up in the morning and decide that I want to go get, tattoo number 787... whichever it is, I'm just gonna get up and do it. Like, I'm not gonna think about like, are people gonna, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I'm happy and secure, like, where I am, who I am, and how I feel about stuff. So that's been a big difference.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like I'm comfortable in my own skin type situation. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm bald headed, not by choice, by force. My DNA and genetic pool decided not to give me cells that going to regenerate over my entire lifetime. I'm very hairy, clearly my ancestors were like of the ape kind, and I'm a bigger guy. I'm comfortable with all of that. I'm fine with all of that.
Yeah.
And it was a time when I questioned some of that stuff, but like, it's just since I've been in my 30s, I know that there has been no question of that. Like, so I feel like my confidence has increased, and I feel like it's increasing daily. I don't think that it's just, it wasn't no just overnight thing. It's been a transition, and it just seemed to have it be going up in my 30s.
I think what I feel like for me, what it's been is that I think as you get older, you see that shit just don't matter, or you see that the time that you put into like questioning how other people are gonna feel, shit turn out exactly the same. So at this point, I'd rather just do what I want to do. Like, if I'm gonna have to deal with the consequences and the outcome, I'd rather just do what I want to do. Like, I just don't care. It just don't matter to me. Like, my hair is red as shit. You know what I'm saying? There are people, my family, my mom hates my hair. Like, she, every time I see her, she's like, yeah, you and that red hair. Like, she hates it. I don't give a shit. Like, it don't matter to me because I'm happy with it. Like, I like it. My hair's been red for 3 years. In my 20s, that would have bothered me. Like, people being like, oh, you're not going to be able to get a job when you because I did this shit in grad school. Like, I was insane, and I dyed my hair this bright-ass red color. Like, the cartoon, that is what color my hair is. I dyed it that color in grad school. So, like, when I graduated, there was this whole, you're not gonna be able to find a job with your hair like that. In my 20s, like early on, that would have made a difference to me, and that would have I would have been like, oh my God, they're right. Let me go dye my hair. Oh my goodness. But at that point, I was just like, fuck it. Okay, somebody, I'm not changing this shit.
Too late now.
It's there now. Like, I like it, and I'll never be able to get it back this right. Cause if I were to dye it black and then try to, people are like, well, just dye it, and then when you get the job, change it back. I'll never be able to get it this shade. It won't ever be right again. I'm not doing it. So just like stuff like that, like just being confident in my decisions, even like the things that I want to do, and knowing that this is, you know, how I feel and how I want it to be. So I'm gonna do it without so much, you know, not in a selfish, I don't give a fuck what you don't think, but like, you know what I'm saying, like, this is how I feel, this is what I want, so I'm gonna do it regardless of how you feel, because it's not your life. I'm able to like separate my life as opposed to like what you want to do with your life. That's fine. That's how you feel, but it ain't got no bearing on how I feel, kind of thing. So that definitely has changed, and I think a lot of it has to do with just living and seeing that you can't please everybody. And regardless of what you do or how you look, somebody ain't gonna like it. You know, you can be thin, somebody gonna think you too thin. Shit, people tell me I need to gain weight all the time, and then you could be bigger, and people tell you need to lose weight. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, you're never gonna be able to please everybody. And so I think as you get older, you start realizing that, and you just don't give a shit. And I think that's why, like, elderly people don't give a fuck. Elderly people will say and do whatever they want to do, because at that point in your life, you just got to a place where it's like, shit don't matter, and I'm gonna do what I want.
That's because death is coming. That's because, you know, the Grim Reaper is tap dancing behind you, and you can see him. I feel like when you get a certain age as an old person, you can see death, and he just dancing around you, like when your sibling be like, I ain't touching you, I'm right in your face, but I think they can see him.
They might be able to, cause they sure don't give a shit, man. My grandma's like,
look, a bitch, death is in front of me. I don't give a damn what you say.
Is that
nothing?
Will say whatever she wants to say and look you dead in your face and dare you to say some shit about it. Like, she don't care. She'll hurt your feelings in a heartbeat. Don't even matter.
I feel like, oh no, let me say something first. There are everything's on a scale to me. There are going to be a bunch of mature 20-year-olds. There's going to be a lot of stuff that we say in this situation that might not apply to everybody generally.
Or you may already be there and be 21 years old, and that's fine.
You know, I mean, that's okay. I think this is more rooted in our personal experience, even though we generalizing and saying 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, just take it in as recognizing that as you grow, as you get older, you're going to change. There is going to be more that you experience. There are going to be differences that you recognize about yourself as you get older versus, you know, when you were younger. When we're 40, it's going to be things that we're going to be different in our 30s. Life is just a constant transition to greatness as far as I'm concerned.
And it's supposed to be. Life is about change. You're supposed to constantly change.
Up to the point when you can start seeing death. But nobody else can. You know, I don't know what age that is yet. I gotta talk to some elderly people for that. But I feel like I'm more ready. That's like a blanket statement.
It is a blanket statement.
An exact blanket statement.
Just wait for whatever.
I feel like if I go outside right now and somebody's finna rob me, I feel like I'm ready. I don't know what I'm gonna do in that situation. I clearly don't want that situation to happen, but I'm ready. I don't believe I would have been ready at 25. I know I wasn't ready at 25. I wasn't ready, but now I'm ready. I don't care what it is. If somebody says, you ready? I think today I say, yeah, I'm ready.
Let's go.
But I don't think I would have said that 8 years ago. I wouldn't have been like, I'm ready. I'd have been like, ready for what? I mean, what do you mean?
Now
what's
you
the
just
context?
Automatically, yes,
exactly. I'm ready. I'm ready. If something happened, you know, I'm ready. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think I can see that.
I can't put words behind the feeling of that, of being ready. Like, I'm ready. You ready to go? I'm ready. I'm always ready to go. Like, it don't turn off for me. I don't know. I mean, you ain't gotta agree with that in terms of what you've experienced, but man, I'm ready. I mean, I ain't ready to die.
Well, yeah, that's
I mean, I ain't ready for surprises. Like, if I go to unplug my iPhone charge and the plug, you know, make me have to run off on the plug, then, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna be a situation. You know, I ain't ready for that. But, you know, I'm more prepared for it than I was at 25 if it was to happen.
So you're just more prepared for things.
Like, I guess prepared. I don't want to say prepared because I ain't prepared for shit.
What?
But I'm ready.
Okay. I'm going to let you rock with that.
I'm ready.
Well, I feel like I have almost, I would say I probably got maybe 2 or 3 fucks left to give about things. Like maybe 2 or 3, maybe 2.5, maybe not even a full 3. Like I don't get upset about stuff like I used to. Stuff just doesn't bother me. Like in my 20s, I've never been an overly emotional person. Anybody who knows me in real life is probably laughing their ass off right now for me saying that I'm not an emotional person, because I'm not. But stuff used to bother me. Even if I didn't tell people that it bothered me, stuff used to bother me a lot more than it does now. Now I could give a shit. Like, you know, I teach an anger management class, and I'm constantly telling them, like, they think that I'm crazy. I'm just like, you have to pick your battles, and most things just ain't worth the time, and I just can't be bothered. Like, I just don't have no fucks to give you. I'm sorry. Like, I have none. I could care less. Like, it just don't matter.
I can't conceptualize being as bothered by things as some people are bothered by things.
Oh my God.
And a part of that is my temperament of, I ain't gave a fuck for a long time. But I can tell you that the availability of fucks is decreasing daily. You know, just by slivers. So by the time I can see death, I ain't gonna have none.
No, the old people
at
have
all.
none.
Exactly.
They're
none.
out. Completely out.
But as I turn 30, I can feel the difference.
Stuff just don't matter as much. Like, I mean, and I've had conversations with some of my other friends that are, you know, are the same age, and that has been the general consensus. I think stuff you just start seeing the things that actually matter, and you realize that most of this other shit don't. And it's just like, okay, that's cool. Like, I can't be bothered, but all right.
Yeah, in the context of my life, I think it's kind of recent as to where I started recognizing, like, I spent a lot of time in my 20s. First off, my early 20s, my early childhood, I didn't talk. Mm-hmm. I didn't talk to the world. I was very quiet. I was very isolated. I didn't speak.
That is very hard to believe.
In high school, like 3 out of 4 years, I would be nominated for quietest person in the school.
That
like 3 out of 4 years.
It's extremely hard to believe.
Nobody believe it. And nobody believe I never smoked or drank before either. But I haven't. But it was up until I was about 23 or 24 that I really actually started gaining my voice and having confidence in speaking.
Yeah.
And learning how to speak better. But what I was saying, I was worried about what other people feel about it.
Yeah.
What I was trying to accomplish at that point in time was based on what I thought my family wanted. Yeah. You know? And just recently have I become comfortable with all of the decisions that I have made.
Yeah.
And I have been willing to accept everything that I have, you know, decided to do up to this point.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with it. I'm happy with it. And more so than that, as to where I believe that my family wouldn't be happy or supportive if I didn't do the things they wanted me to do. I find that the level of enjoyment that they see me having with it has helped them grow to appreciate the decisions that I have made myself, you know. And so I think a lot of people get wound up so much in trying to please their family, not knowing that your family in the, you know, most normal sense is going to be the constant supportive, you know, group for you. But you got to be comfortable in the decisions you make.
Yeah. And they're not there for your day. Most people, unless you live in a house with your family, they're not there for your day-to-day life. You have to live with these decisions day to day. Like, they're going to give you their opinions about it when they see you. You know what I'm saying? But, like, from the day-to-day, when you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror, you are the one that has to be okay with the stuff that you decide. And, you know, you're not going to be if it doesn't come from you. Like, even doing this podcast, or like a lot of the other stuff that I do now, because I've always been a sarcastic asshole. I can admit that about myself. But the difference between now and like my 20s and even in high school was the same thing that you just said. I was so concerned about how people were going to view me and how people were going to feel about the things that I said that I kept a lot of that stuff to myself. Now, if I think something, I'll fucking say it, which causes me some trouble sometimes. But it just doesn't matter as much, and I'm a lot more willing to try things. I'm a lot more open to things, because even doing this, like in my 20s, I would have been like, nobody's gonna want to listen to me, you know, ramble on about stuff, or nobody, you know, I would have discouraged myself. Shit, well, nobody else would even had to have done it. I would have nitpicked it to death. And now, like, if I'm interested in doing something, if something interests me, I'll just try it. Like, I don't care. I don't have no fucks to give. Like, it just doesn't matter. If I want to try, I go hiking now. That's something that I would not have done in my 20s, because it would have been something that I wouldn't have tried, because nobody in my life likes to hike. Like, nobody that I know personally likes to hike. So I was doing the things that, like, the people around me like to do. You know what I'm saying? So, like, stepping out on my own, discovering the stuff that I enjoy and doing it because I enjoy it and not necessarily because other people are involved with it. You know, I do that a lot more now.
Yeah.
So that's another change that I've noticed.
Yeah. Another change is dating.
Oh shit.
I mean, I haven't dated that much in my 30s because I spent the early part of my 30s in a relationship. So, like, I'm new on the 30-year-old dating scene.
Well, let me break you in real quick.
Now, dating, clearly, you are, you know, you could possibly be shot in the face.
I could possibly be shot in the face.
Now, let's go ahead and distinguish the difference between what you may be confronted with versus what I may be confronted with. So, I don't think I have to worry about necessarily being shot in the face. Right. More so than hypothetically being stabbed in the heart and it being twisted.
Yeah.
But, you know, what you got?
I mean,
break me in. Hit me
dating. Okay, so here's the thing. I think part of knowing who you are and what you like is a good and a bad thing, right? It's good in that it helps you a lot quicker be able to recognize whether or not this is somebody that you can go the distance with, right? Because I already know what I like and what I don't like, and I already know what I'm willing to put up with and what I ain't. In your 20s, I feel like I think maybe because you feel like you have more time. I don't really know what it is, but you a lot more willing to, like, deal with people and they little shit, you know? And I feel like the older you get, the less inclined. That's a good thing in that respect. It's not so much in that it just feel like you constantly dating new people, right? Yeah. Because people are constantly, like, getting cut from the list. So it just feels like this never-ending ass cycle of people. So that and I have always said I didn't want to be with somebody that had kids, because I don't have kids, and I would like to have, if I ever have kids, because I'm still on the fence about that shit, but if I ever have kids, I would like for us to have that experience for the first time together. But in the 30s, most of y'all got kids already, and so that's a very difficult, like, criteria to hang on to. Like, I've had to lax that shit up a lot, because a lot of people have children now at this age.
But, you know, it's still very possible that to be his first experience with raising a kid these days.
No, let me tell you something, though. If this your first experience raising a kid and not bringing one into the world, we ain't gonna work. Because, see, this is what people don't realize. I'm not crazy enough to think that I'm gonna be special, right? If you had a baby with somebody and you chose not to take care of that baby, I'm not gonna be of the mind that I'm gonna be special and you gonna help me with mine and shit. I don't do deadbeats. You're a deadbeat parent. That ain't cute. So we wouldn't be together anyway. But dating it becomes, I think it can be a little discouraging because you feel like you have less to choose from. And it's not necessarily that the pool is less. It's just that you are so much more confident in what you're looking for and what you ain't looking for, that you just don't bother with a lot of the shit that you might have. So then it makes it look like the pool has shortened down so small, and it's just like, oh my God. And I find I look younger than what I am, so I have a whole lot of little early 20 somethings, and it's like, I can't. I didn't even like your people your age when I was your age. I can't deal with y'all now. I can't. You talking about swag and shit. I can't. It's too much. I can't do it.
Oh my goodness. I think in my 20s, I had no idea what I was trying to hone in on as far as what I would like in a relationship and dating. I had no idea. It was like, bobbing for apples. Whatever apple comes is just what it is. And then I would learn those traits and I would experience those things and I'd be like, the bad ain't worth the good, or the good ain't good enough, or it's just too much bad. No, that kind of situation. And I think now I know I have a prototype type situation. It's like it's like a don't know who filling the gaps, but I know what I would like for them to consist of to a degree. And
I think the criteria is a lot more realistic too. For me, it is anyway. Not that I ever had like a crazy long list, but some of the stuff just wasn't. It didn't matter. Like, and I went through a lot of relationships that were based on like stupid shit, and so it didn't work out. So I think my list is a lot more solid. Like the characteristics that I'm looking for are a lot more solid as opposed to when I was in my 20s, because shit like. If you have kids, you should be taking care of those kids. Like, that's a sense of responsibility that tells me a lot about you. I even pay attention to shit like, if we go out, like how you treat the wait staff. Like, if you being an asshole to them, that tells me a lot about you as a person. Like, why you being mean to this person that's doing their job? Like, sit your ass down. Like, so even like stuff like that's stuff that I didn't really pay attention. Part of that's being a counselor, but another part of it, I feel like, is just I've learned that you need to pay attention to like people's behavior, because what they give to you, because it's the beginning. Everybody in the beginning is lovely and sweet and wonderful.
Their representative.
Their representative is who shows up. This is not who this person is. So you have to pay attention to how they treat the people around you. Not necessarily you in the beginning, because of course they're going to treat you well. That's not really indicative of the fact that they're going to always treat you well. So now I pay attention to how you treat the people around you as well. If you're an asshole to everybody but me, I know my day is coming. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be an asshole to me too eventually. Because that's what you do.
The beginning of a relationship is like one of them little schemes, like wake up now. You know what I'm saying? They you get in there, they be like, hey, you want to make some money? But the relationship word is, hey, you want a date? And then you be like, yeah, let me see what this is about. And you go to a few meetings, you go out every now and then, and you know what I'm saying? It's cool, everything is cool. And then it be like, now to get started, you need to spend $450. Except in the dating world, it be some crazy woman done showed up that you ain't know nothing about. You done dated this person for 2 months, and then this is the first time you hear, oh yeah, my son is,
like, son, wait a minute.
Yeah, or you talking to a dude and then you text every day, and one day you don't get no texts and no calls, and then excuses come from that moment on. Like, the wake up moment comes, where you be like, this might be a scam. This might be a pyramid scheme. This might be a situation.
And I feel like you notice that wake up moment comes a little earlier now than it did. Like and I don't know that it wasn't that I didn't see the stuff. I don't know. I feel like you're more forgiving. I don't know what it is.
You're more optimistic. You're more hopeless romantic.
Yeah, because
the realistic romantic.
Cause now,
it's like if you come by that perfect thing, it's got to take you by surprise.
Yes.
If you expect a surprise, you're going to be disappointed more often than not.
Yes.
Type situation.
Yeah. I mean, it's dating, and even in that same vein of dating, just like now. Anytime I see my family, like, who, you not dating anybody yet? When you gonna settle down? Everybody is counting my eggs and how old my eggs are. Like, if you gonna have some kids, you're not getting any younger. I live in this body every day. I promise you, I know how old I am. Like, I feel like you turn 30 is something like flicks in people's minds, and it's like, okay, we need to be planning a wedding, and we need to be, getting baby showers. And then we need, like, it just becomes this. So even if you don't feel that way, and I explained this to one of my male friends, because he was like, women get to be 30 and then they just, get on this roller coaster. Like, I gotta get married. And I was trying to explain to him that a lot of that is outside influence, I feel like, because you could be, you could be Hugh Hefner it up, and you would be like a hero You know, you would be like this bachelor who just couldn't settle down. He just couldn't choose a woman. I do that shit, and I'm a spinster and an old man, and it's so sad. Red just never had any kids, and she just died alone, and it just looked at differently. And I feel like women get a lot of pressure from outside, because I don't give a shit, because when I get married, I want it to be to the right person. So however fucking long that takes, I'm willing to put that in. So I'm not finna just get married just for the sake of getting married to shut people up. But for somebody who gets, because I mean, again, every time I see some members of my family, it's like, you ain't brought nobody home. You dating anybody? You know, you in your 30s. You know, you don't want to have no kids. Like, it just becomes this thing. And it's like, damn, do we have to have this conversation every time I see you? Like, it just, and people get wore down, and so then you kind of adopt that mentality of, man, something's wrong with me, because I'm not out here getting married and procreating. And so I think that has a lot to do with it, because he was like, man, you wouldn't be wanting to, you know, tie people down real quick. And it's like, it's outside influence.
You know, I have fully committed to the idea that I'm gonna be one of them old daddies at the basketball game for my kids, because I'm 30 years old and I don't have no kids. You know, that's where I'm at. You know, but you know, I do every now and then get that question, you know, why you single?
Yeah,
I know a lot of women get that, but I get that every now and then. On paper, I'm a sure hire. Like, on paper, I'm a sure hire. Now, it's other nuances I got that keep me from getting a job in most instances, but I haven't experienced that. Like, you have experience with like the why you single type situation?
Oh my God.
I mean, to other people.
Yeah, all the time. Like, I get that. And, okay, so when I'm going to jump back to the confidence thing. When I was in my 20s, I was a very like awkward ass, you know, my mom's not even allowed to have like pictures of me before like 10th grade up in the house. Okay, I was a very awkward ass kid. And so it took me a while to grow into my looks, right? So like now even I'll get the, you know, you're such a pretty girl, why are you single? Because that's all the fuck it takes is like, you look nice. And so automatically somebody should have snapped my ass up, because that's how that works. I do get that a lot. And I don't know what people, I don't know what response they're expecting when they say that shit. It's like, okay, now what? Okay, you said this, now where we go from here? All right, yeah, I'm still single, and now what? Like, I don't understand.
So what's your response to that?
When they ask me why am I still single, because I haven't met nobody. Like that, you know, that
I haven't met nobody worthy.
Basic, and really, okay, another thing about being in my 30s, my own personal experience, a lot of my female friends have either gotten married or they've had kids, and so like that part of their life has started, and so it's not as easy to just like hang out, right? When I was in my 20s, I thought me and my friends was gonna be on some Sex in the City type shit, and we was just gonna be going out, hanging out, drinking cosmopolitans and bars and shit, and that did not happen. You know, like life has a tendency to work out in a different way. So now I end up hanging out more with my single male friends. So, and if a male and a female are out together, automatically it's assumed that they're together. Nobody's gonna come up to you. Nobody's gonna approach you. Nobody's gonna try to talk to you. I don't really go places because I don't like going places by myself, and I don't really have people to hang out with. So like, I don't really put myself in positions and places to really even meet people. So it ain't even, it's that I haven't met anybody, and I don't really have places to meet people. So, you know, it's just how it works out. But it's always like this condescending way. The way that people ask, it's always like, you still single?
Yeah.
Like it's something wrong. Like the implication there is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like you must be running people off because, and it's like, oh my God, I have an uncle. I love him to death, but he is everything that I would want my husband to be. He's, you know, he's not perfect, but he takes care of my aunt. He takes care of my cousin. He's like a good guy. He thinks that all men or the majority of men behave like him. And I'm trying to tell him, like, in 2016, that's not how this go. You are from a different generation. This is not how they are now. And he don't get that. So his whole thing is he thinks that me and my cousin, both his daughter, are both we just turning down people left and right, you know? It's just like, nope, not good enough. Nope, not good enough. Nope. Like, that's what he assumes is going on. And I think that happens a lot. Like, people, oh, you just too picky.
Yeah.
You just too picky. No. It's just not that simple. If it was that simple, everybody would be married and nobody would be single. If it was that easy to find a good match for yourself, everybody would.
I mean, you also talking to a man that came from a generation that, you know, men made most of the decisions in their situations. Yeah. You know, and men were expected to choose the women, and the women was all right with it as long as he can provide something. Shit. Like these days, like I know it's different these days. Hell no. I mean, I know dudes is different.
Dudes are extremely, and that's, you know, again, that's something that me and my cousin both try to get him to understand. It's like, you're looking at this through the lens of how you are, and you're thinking that the majority of men are like you, and it would be lovely if that was the case, but that is not how it goes. So dating is like it's a lot different. I think it's harder, because the thing about it, when you're in your 20s, you're in college, you're in this incubator kind of a situation where you're thrust with tons and tons of people. It's a lot easier for you to date because there's so many more for you to choose from. Your life isn't as hectic. In college, you have classes to go to. You may have like a part-time job, but it's not like having a career and having to go to this regular, 9 to 5 and pay bills, and, people having their own separate lives. And so, you can't hang out. I get tired of sleepy early now, so I ain't trying to hang out like any fucking way. So things just change. And so it's not like college where you have this large pool of people to choose from as an older adult. It's just not that simple. Like,
I mean, in a part of my early life with the being not verbal to 20, about age 22 or 23, it made it very difficult for me to be as assertive as men are supposed to be in the society when it comes to dating. Yeah. So I've always kind of been in the online dating scene rather than going out and speaking to somebody and saying, hey, this, that. I just don't have the skills to do that.
Online dating scares you, though. But I mean, people are always like, why don't you just go up to like? I get very nervous when I talk to people that I don't know, and so my defense mechanism when I get nervous is sarcasm.
So that's the situation.
It is. So I don't go up to guys. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care how attractive I may think you are. If you don't come and say some shit to me, we will not talk. Because if I come up to you, the first thing that's gonna pop in my mind is some slick shit, and you gonna think I'm insane. Like, it's not gonna go well. I'm not very good at like talking to people. Like, I'm terrible about it. But even with online dating, you got people sending you penis pictures and that you didn't ask for, or lying about who they are, or what they do, or what they look like. So that's a whole nother. All kind of forms of dating come with their own pros and cons, I feel like, though. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this part of the dialogue is gonna cater to the counselors, the therapists, the mental health. In terms of Erik Erikson's psychosocial stages of development, we are in intimacy versus isolation. And for those of you who aren't in tune with that, there are a bunch of stages that we go through in life at certain ages in which we're supposed to learn one thing versus the other. It's like this dichotomy. One of them is good, this thing that you're supposed to learn, and one of them is this thing that's more maladaptive. And in intimacy versus isolation, you're supposed to find intimacy versus that isolation. And I think one thing before my last relationship, it was easier to be alone than it is now for me. Like, having not been in a relationship, been out of a relationship for a short period of time, I guess, for the last 5 or 6 months, it's different not having somebody there versus what I remember being before.
Yeah.
Before, it was still rooted in that optimism, that hopeless romantic, but after that relationship ended, it's like, okay, where am I now? Type situation. Like, it's like I just got killed in Mario after I made it like for 5 levels. I thought I was gonna make it to the boss, but now I'm back at the beginning with this mushroom little setup. You know what I'm talking about? And the little secret one up over there by it. You know what I'm talking about. I'm back at the beginning.
I think my experience has been a little bit different. I have not been in a committed relationship. Shit, it's sad that I don't even remember. That's how it's been a really long, like, I haven't been in one in my 30s. Shit, I don't even remember. Like, it's been a really long time. And so I go more towards, I like my isolation. I'm in their maladaptive place. It's hard. Even when I start dating people, like, it's very, I have to remind myself that I have to be social and that I cannot get into because I get in these moods where I don't want to be bothered with nobody. Like, I'm perfectly content being at home watching Netflix with my dog. I'm okay with that. And so I have to, like, remind myself sometimes that that's what dating is. It's like being around this other person more than you are by yourself. So I think because I've had such a long break from, like, being with somebody, I'm still stuck in that, like, I'm used to being by myself. And so, like, adding another person for me feels odd. And I've dated in my 30s. I just haven't, like, been in a relationship with anybody. And even that, like I said, it's been kind of like where I have to remind myself, because sometimes I'm like, what the fuck is he calling me for? Oh, wait, because we're dating. That's why. Like, oh, that's why he wants to see me, because that's what you're supposed to do. So I'm on the other end, I think, because I took such a long break. And I think once I, like, get into a relationship again, on the opposite side of that, I'm probably going to be where you are now. But I think because I've had the opposite experience of, like, a huge chasm of, like, solitude, that breaking that for me has been kind of difficult in my 30s, because it's a lot easier for me to, like, be isolated now if I want to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't hard. And so I have to, like, be cognizant of that.
And that's a part of my struggle. I don't want to call it a struggle, but just a part of my nuances. I'm a lone wolf myself. So I'm perfectly fine not being isolated. I'm perfectly fine being isolated. But it's a situation where when I do want that intimacy, I want it available. Like, that's why I like that long distance stuff. Not my cup of tea. Like, it's like there are plenty of times where I'll be like, you know, I'm doing my thing, I'm good with it. You know, she not here, I'm fine. You know, but then it turns into, I wish she was here type situation. And when they're not, it's like, well, I'm stuck. I'm in a situation right now. You know, so I'm trying to figure out if, I mean, it's just a fine line that I'm walking on with being comfortable with being a lone wolf and not having that thing when I want it, but being not in a relationship right now and not really actively dating. I don't have the option of any of that. All I got is isolation. All I got is loneliness. You know, so I don't know. But I've noticed that difference. I noticed that difference. It's been, and I don't want to say harder in the sense of, no. I don't want to lay out here and cry at night. I wish I had somebody next to me. It's never that deep.
But you become accustomed to having... But
I recognize it. It's just something I recognize. And recognizing the lightest sense of the word is like, you know what? Before this, I felt differently about being by myself. You know, type situation.
Yeah. And see, you had... I've never lived with anybody. Even when I was, like, in a relationship, I've never lived with somebody. So even that, like, I still had my own little space where I was completely away from you kind of thing. So even that terrifies me, that living with somebody, I gotta see your face every day.
It's a different situation.
It scares me.
I mean,
I can't get away from you.
None of it was bad.
Yeah.
For me, none of it was bad.
Yeah.
But living with somebody, I still had the same situation of isolation just because of our jobs and our schedule.
Oh, yeah.
It was the exact same. I'm good because I'm alone now.
Yeah.
But, oh man, it's a period of time that's right here now that I want that, but I don't have it.
Yeah.
Just because our time and our schedules didn't match up like that.
Yeah.
And so it was the same situation.
Yeah.
That it transitioned to that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? From earlier, not really knowing how I felt about it in my 20s to having this relationship to now, you know what? Loneliness is different now.
Yeah.
Not having someone is different now.
Yeah.
Type situation. Not necessarily negative.
It's
I guess
different.
Negative in the whole context of I'm more of a hopeless romantic than not, and having somebody, that perfect person, is something that I desire.
Yeah.
Negative in that context, but in the context of my life and what I'm trying to achieve.
Well, speaking of achievements, we both have careers. I think that's something that was different for both of us. In my 20s, I was doing all kind of shit. That sounds terrible. Not all kind of shit like that, but just different jobs. I didn't have a career focus where this is what I'm doing. I wasn't that I was investing all of my time into like I am now with being a therapist. So that's different in a good way some days, in the bad. Some days I miss doing other stuff, because I just do the same thing. It's varied because different clients and everything, but sometimes it's just kind of oh my god.
Well, I mean, I've pretty much had at least 2 to 3 jobs since 2006. I've had at least 2 jobs since 2006 up to this point. So working in a restaurant, delivering pizza, other things. Mm-hmm. I've always had that range of things to do. But now, I've really struggled. I've really been struggling. I'm in denial. I'm in denial that I need to leave my restaurant job. I've been working there for 8 years. And I went there to give them a notice and let them know that it's probably best if I leave. But I'm going to be working on Valentine's Day now. I'm struggling with the idea that I got to leave because that place has been a big part of my whole college career up to this point that I'm becoming successful and moving on in my business. Yeah. It's going to be a time when I can't work there, and I haven't been there in 10 weeks. I'm on call. They kind of call me when they need, but they hadn't called me. Yeah. And so that's been a part of that was a large part of my 20s, and now I'm recognizing that it's going to hinder me from what I'm trying to accomplish with my business at this point if I continue to have that thing and continue to hold myself hostage by the idea that I need to stay connected to it. But being a bartender is being a bartender and an actual therapist. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. If you're a bartender and a therapist, you know what I'm talking about.
I can imagine.
When people come, because people come to the bar and they got issues, and when I tell them, I'm in the community counseling program, I'll be done. I'm training right now. You can come, to the clinic and have a session, and they be like, well, let me tell you this. It's beautiful.
I hardly tell people I'm a therapist now. There's something about telling people that they just unload on you when you do that shit. Sometimes I will say that, and then the conversation will turn into some childhood shit that they just been holding on, waiting to tell somebody about, and it's wow.
Well, I think I got one of them faces, because people do that before they know I'm a therapist. But people always be like, "You analyzing me? You analyzing me?" Yeah. Okay, no, I'm not analyzing you. It's not that serious. I don't just analyze people on cue, type situation. Yeah. Well, I mean, in the sense that I'm an analytical person, which is why I'm in the career that I am.
Everybody. I just ain't gonna tell you. I just ain't gonna say anything.
From the sense that I have the courtesy of not actively analyzing you as we having a conversation. But I'm breaking down you from this conversation. But I went to Sears and I had a dude. he came out of nowhere and asked me, if I needed some help. Mm-hmm. And he just started asking me questions about what I do. And I said, I'm a therapist. And his whole demeanor changed. Like his eyebrows broke down. And he looked at me and said, Jesus, my counselor. What you got to say about that? It was the funniest shit ever. Yes.
Oh God, people are insane.
It was hilarious. I told him. I said, look, Jesus is the counselor for the soul, the spirit, that can't be touched. I'm a counselor for the mind. It's physical. So there's place for Jesus to be your counselor and for me to be your therapist.
That's a good response.
Yeah, he know what the hell to say. He wasn't prepared for it.
He thought I was gonna have a comeback. Yeah, he was, because that was his point, was trying to offend you. Why else would he have said that?
Therapy prepare you with those skills.
Yeah, it does. I think I have resting bitch face, so people don't come up to me as much. But if I say that I'm a therapist, it just, the resting bitch face don't matter at that point, because then it's like, well, let me tell you about my boyfriend's been. And it's like, okay.
People talk to me everywhere I go. I think I was with you one time. We were at a Chinese restaurant.
That dude in that book,
yeah, the dude,
money. Yeah. Oh my God.
People do that all the time to me. I don't know.
Where the fuck did this even come from? Like, what are we trying to eat our food? Like, what are you talking? What, he told you the name of a book, some money on how to like make money or save money or some shit.
I don't know. I think I just got one of them faces. I think my brother too. It happened to him and me and him. Well, people just talk to us.
I think I just look mean, so people don't really necessarily come up and do that with me. But yeah, I mean, the career thing, and again, even like doing stuff like this, like the podcast, it's stuff that I wouldn't have necessarily like have been down with doing, because I would have overanalyzed it and be like, nobody wants to hear it, and I would have talked myself out of doing it. So, it's just it's a bit different. And I
wasn't as confident in. I didn't believe what I said as much as I do now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when I say something now, I believe it. And I accept fully that I'm actively assimilating new ideas into my current paradigm. Mm-hmm. So, it's very possible that things I said in the early podcasts are going to be different in later podcasts, because I'm constantly assimilating new ideas and changing. But I have a solid core of what I believe that I add to. Yeah. I didn't have that core in my I didn't have that core. It was like my thoughts was jello. It's like you couldn't land nothing in none of that. It was just fluctuating just so everywhere. Much. Yeah, it was all over the place. So now I feel like I got it like to myself in my head. It's just like shelves and shelves and shelves stacked with ideas, thoughts, and I can go straight to those ideas and straight to those thoughts and pull out what I need and amend them if I need to, and be like, you know what, I thought this, but let me change a little bit about what I thought, because this debate I had was insightful, even though I didn't agree with the person. This argument I had, it helped me really understand why I believe what I believe, or it helped me say that what I believe is, I can believe something different. I see it's wavering, and so I believe more now everything that I'm saying than I used to. Yeah. In my 20s.
You have more conviction behind it.
Yeah.
And
I only been 30 for a couple of years now. A year and a half, you know what I'm saying? So I'm fresh out of my 20s, to be real, you know what I'm saying? So,
but I think even in being in the beginning, I still think that these are pretty substantial changes from, think about the beginning of your 20s to the beginning of these 30s. Like, it's vastly different. Like, and when I was like 21, shit, like, I mean, I had no idea still what I really wanted, and I was still trying to figure that shit out.
Man, that time in my life where I was quiet, I have no idea who that guy was. I can assure you, I don't know how I made this. See, any of y'all who knew me before 24, you need to remind me who I was, what I used to do, what I used to say. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know going to my class reunion, I know I was far different than any of those people remember me being.
People don't
because
even
I was social intentionally. Given that, sidebar, reunions are useless today because you know everything you gonna know about the people that show up from Facebook. You know,
Facebook.
But in interacting, I know I was completely different in that situation.
People tell me all the time that I went to high school with that I'm vastly different now as opposed to then. And I always laugh because it's like, no, you think I'm different, but I just say I thought all of this shit then. I just wasn't confident enough in myself to like say it and to live it. Mm-hmm. I felt exactly the same way though. I wasn't ready yet to like tell people this is how I feel about this, or I wasn't ready yet to say this is what I want to do, so I'm gonna go and do that and be damned to whatever, you know, people have to say about it. So now I seem like I've become this like vastly different person, and I don't think it's necessarily that. I think I'm just more comfortable in the person that I've always been, and so now mine letting you know who that is, and if you don't like it, okay, that's fine.
Another thing that has changed for me is the music, man. I just think that it's such a gap between the music that was popular when I was young that the music today is just changed so drastically from that I'm becoming one of them people that's like, you know, this music, you know, this new music is something else, you know, opposed to the old music. Now, I will admit that the music I used to be a fan of was crap. Yeah. no limit. You know? Like, I'd be critical of what Gucci Mane and new rappers talking about, Wiz Khalifa killing and murdering.
XM satellite radio is the best thing I ever invested money in because
XM satellite.
I do not have to listen to this bullshit because I start feeling like my parents. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why do people like this? How is this music? Like, I feel like my grandmother. But yeah, I think every generation goes through that with the music. I think every generation thinks the next generation's music is stupid and they miss their music and they idolize their music and they like the music that they liked. Cause I listen to the 90s station on XM all the time. Like that's my shit. I like it. I can't stand like Young Thug, and I roll my eyes. Like my teenage clients come in and I ask them about the music they like and they start naming, you know, Young Thug and shit. I always have to catch myself and roll my eyes because I'm like, you would like that shit. Like you would be interested in this bullshit. Like
I challenge the kids I work with. I be like, what Young Thug got good to say?
Nothing. Shit.
They make it make sense to them, but it's irrational to me. But they may try to make it make sense to them.
It's music has definitely my taste in music. My taste in music is the same. I think the direction of music has changed, and I ain't with it. I still like the same kind of, and I'm like very eclectic in my music. Like I hardly listen to rap anymore. I listen to rock. I listen to punk. I listen like R&B more than any of the rest of the genres.
I listen to everything but country.
Everything but country.
Country sad.
Classical music. I listen to literally everything but country music. And I hate that twang and the whininess.
EDM is my new junk though.
Shit, yes.
EDM. I be waiting.
I be in my apartment like waiting for the beat to drop.
And then when it's a song I like, I be like, oh, it's coming. So, you know, you see all the skits and the jokes and stuff about when the beat drop. I get it.
Yep.
I get it.
Yep. I just got into EDM. I love, it's so great. Yeah. Then there's an EDM station on XM that I listen to.
Spotify EDM playlist.
Yeah, I mean, shit. I got on Spotify. I listen to, you know, I used to play Rock Band. Mm-hmm. They have a Rock Band playlist of all the songs from all the rock bands.
Yeah, I gotta look for that.
I listen to that shit all the time.
Cause you know, I used to use the microphone on Rock Band more than anything. Yeah. So. Yeah, I'm gonna need that playlist. I gotta go find that.
I'll tell you what we remind me. I think it's like Rock Band 2, but like it's called Rock Band 2, but it's all the rock. It's like 100 of them songs.
Oh yeah, I gotta get that.
And I just be in my car like listening to Spoon Man and shit. Like if I ever get pulled over, I know the police are gonna be like, "What the fuck is she? Wait a minute,
don't listen to Quiet Mouth." Like, this ain't your people music.
This ain't, like, what's going on? I don't understand. Even like the music, even in how I dress, I don't think I dress like the typical 30-something. I dress like how I want. I wear what I want to wear. Like, I got a shirt on now that say Mercy Be In and like combat boots. Like, I put on whatever I want to put on, and I don't feel a need to like go with whatever the trend may be. I think a lot of these trends now are stupid as fuck, and I don't partake of them, as opposed to in my 20s when it was like, oh, everybody's wearing this, so let me go out and, you know. Now I'm not with it. I can't.
I used to try to wear what was popular.
Yeah.
I used to have a fitted hat, and like I hate that stuff. I hated it then. But I used to wear a fitted hat, and I have a G-Unit shirt, you know. I used to like Anichi. I used to like Echo. I really used to like Echo, which, you know, that they had the G-Unit brand.
Yeah.
I never been keen on like sagging or nothing like that.
Yeah.
I just never been my style, but just the newest stuff.
Yeah.
Is what I liked. But now I got like 5 pair of jeans that stay in rotation. I got these pop culture shirts, like Ninja Turtle shirt, Avenger shirt. What's your just different pop culture shirts. And in my job, since I work with kids, I wear these shirts like I feel like I found a job to which I can dress as comfortably as I like.
Shit, I found a job. I had this red hair. Nobody cares.
Yeah, like I go to schools and I meet principals.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there having a meeting with a principal, and I got on a Ninja Turtle shirt, some DC kicks that are gray and black, and some jeans. And they look at my wear, but they hear what coming out my mouth. They be like, yeah, his words don't match what he got on, but I hear him though, you know. But my justification is that when I dress up, when I work with kids, when I dressed up, I think there was a strong differentiation of power between how they perceived me versus when they see me with something they know of and they recognize.
You become like everybody else in their life. You become the administration.
Yeah, like if I got on a suit and some slacks, if I got on some slacks and a button-up shirt, I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
If I got on a suit, I'm somebody that came and knocked on the door, to the kids. So when they recognize the shoes I got on and everything I got on, and not only that, but when I know who Young Thug and Wiz Khalifa is and can name one of their songs, like they embrace me much quicker.
Oh, when I start talking video games with teenage boys, I'm in there.
Exactly.
Okay, you cool. I can deal with you. Like after I started talking video games, because I've been working in an agency, my dresses has to be a little bit different. But when I can start talking video games,
it's a wrap.
We good to go, because it's like, oh, okay, wait a minute. So yeah, I think, but even, like I said, I don't dress like the typical person, and I'm okay with that now. In my 20s, I wanted to like dress like everybody else, and now I don't give a shit. Like if I see something that I like, I'm gonna get it. You know, I got a Big Bang Theory shirt that's got Bazinga written across there, and that's geeky as shit. And not everybody's even gonna recognize where that shirt is from. Like I don't care though. Like now, it's just I like what I like. I'm gonna wear what I like. If you don't like it, close your eyes. That's kind of where I've gotten to with that. So
I got you. Well, I mean, that's about it for me. I mean, clearly it's stuff I keep recognizing.
And I think as you get older, I mean, I think, again, I feel like life is all about change. I want to be changing until the day I leave this earth, because I feel like there's always room for me to change. There's always room for me to learn something that I didn't know that may change how I feel about certain things. There's always room for me to find something that I might like that I didn't know that I like. Like I feel like we're supposed to be ever evolving, and in doing that, we're gonna always recognize stuff in ourselves that's different from when we were younger, because we're not those same people. You're not supposed to be. If you feel like you're exactly the same person you were when you were 16 years old at 30, something is wrong.
Either you haven't changed, which is problematic, or you have changed and perceptually you can't recognize how you have, which is a problem.
Either way, it's not good.
You're supposed to change and not like it, or change and love it and know it, and be able to recognize that you're changing
and embrace it. So I am enjoying my 30s. I will say a lot more than my 20s so far. I mean, I'm still early in them, but just being so secure in who I am, it's just being unsure is tiresome as fuck. Like, this is a lot easier of a way to be, to just be like, this is who I am, these are my flaws, this is this is what it is, and just living that day to day, as opposed to like just being so worried about this and that and then third. Like, it's just that was a lot.
I think it's like having had take a weight off of my shoulders, but I still got some weight on there. I just reduced the load, and I just feel like as I progress in life, I'll continue to let this weight off, and to let this weight off, until I can see death. And
you and this death.
I'm just saying. I think that. I think they grow to have a relationship with death. You got death
hula hooping.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing the hula dance.
Like they wake up and death be next to them. Like, I almost touched you last night, but you know what I'm saying. I'll let you get away with it.
Maybe so. I don't know, but I'm looking for the only thing. Again, the suckiest part I feel like is the dating. Dating just fucking sucks. Like, we could do a whole show on dating. It's awful. And I hate it.
It's difficult.
That's I'm not in a hurry to be married because I feel like society feels like I should be married, or because I feel like that's where I should be. I just want to be done with dating because I hate it. Like, it irritates me. I
don't even care about marriage like that. Like, I've been in dialogue before where people be like, is marriage, what's the end goal of a relationship? And people be like, marriage? I'd be like, well, technically marriage is the beginning of a relationship. Yeah. In the best sense, marriage is a milestone in the relationship. Yeah. But if you choose a person to be with, does not getting married change what you can be for that person for the rest of your life if you don't allow it to? No. But I think a lot of people allow it to because they feel like the rest of society needs to see
it's that perception.
You profess that in the front of them, for that. But like, to me, I feel like if I'm with a woman and she wants to be married, I'm with it. If she says, you know what, I don't want to be married. If I found enough traits in her to desire to marry her at any point, then why do I have to turn all of those things that I would have married away just because she choose not to? Yeah. Because what I wanted to be with was what she consists of. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to me, I really don't care about marriage, but I mean, if it's probably gonna happen. But if it don't, then I'll be with it.
I'm not having a wedding even if I get married. And everybody's always like, what? You'll change your mind. Change my mind. Shit. I hate going to weddings. I cannot stand weddings. I'm not finna plan no wedding because for me, a wedding isn't about me and my husband to be. A wedding is about all of these motherfucking people we invited. It's a party for y'all. I'm not throwing y'all a party. I'm sorry. This is about me and him and our starting our life together, and we can do that without throwing a motherfucker. I'm not doing it. Like, I hate that. I would much rather invest that money. If I'm gonna spend the money, we can go on a kick-ass honeymoon somewhere and focus on the two of us because that's what this relationship is based on. It's us. It's not all of these other people. Now, I wouldn't be an asshole. I would probably do maybe a reception for like the family because I wouldn't deny them like being able to take part in this like occasion or whatever. I am not having a wedding. You write that shit down. Like, I'm not. And my mom was like, well, what if the guy, I was like, what man is going to be like, we having a wedding? Like, I want to spend, $10,000 on it. Like, no man's going to be angry.
See, that's what I was finna say. I was finna say, you are in a position in which you can control that to where if you don't want one, it's going to be easy for you to not have one. I'm in a situation where if I want one, if I don't want one, and she do, I ain't got no say so. So I planned. So the only thing about if I ever do get married is I'm paying for everything for everybody involved.
That's
including because I've had somebody that's wanted me to be a part of their wedding party and I didn't have the money to be a part of it. To me, if I'm going to ask you to be a part of it, I'm not giving you no barriers. You just got to tell me, no, I don't want to be in it. Yeah. Because I hate weddings. I hate weddings.
Fucking
I don't want to be a part of one. I will go to one to support. I will go to one to support my partners, but I will never put somebody in a position where they would feel like they would have to be a part of my wedding. And if they are, they ain't gonna have no financial barriers. I'm paying for everything. That's just a conviction I have because of my situation.
Like, for what? I know people say, "Oh, it's the memories and this," but I just feel like if I meet somebody who I like and love enough that people live a long ass time now. If I meet somebody that I'm willing to dedicate the whole rest of my damn life to, that's huge to me, and I want the focus to be on that relationship and cultivating that, not on like throwing this. I mean, I've seen people plan parties, plan weddings, and I've been a part of that, and it's stressful. Like, they're not happy. People fight, and because it's more money than they thought, and who to invite and who not to invite, and don't sit these people with that. Like, that's just too fucking much. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. I've never been that person. Like, I've never had this dress in mind. None of that. Like, that's never been my goal. My goal has always been to find somebody who can put up with my shit, because there's a lot of it, who I can put up with their shit, and when I don't want to be isolated, I don't have to be. Like, that's always been the goal. Like, it's never been, I never had a dream wedding like that. That's never been a thing for me. And so, people think that I'm joking, but I'm not having a wedding. Like, I won't say that I wouldn't get married. We're gonna go to the courthouse and just get married and go on a honeymoon. I'm not throwing a wedding. And my mom was like, "Yes, you are." I said, "I guess you gonna plan it, because I'm not planning shit."
And pay for it.
Because if my money is not, nope. It's a waste of money to me. It doesn't make any sense. That's my own personal opinion, and I know most women in the world disagree with that. But I hate weddings. I don't even like going to it. I go to support people, but I fucking hate weddings. Like, they're boring. It's the same shit every wedding, just different people. Like, I've been in weddings. That shit is expensive. I got motherfucking bridesmaid dresses I can't do shit else with, because you can't rent no dress. You have to buy them bitches, and it's always like $100. Like, it's just a lot.
Yeah,
it's just a lot. And then it's just a lot. I've never had a desire to like take a part in that. So I won't say that I won't ever get married. I will say I ain't have no wedding. You take that shit to the bank.
Deposit slip.
It's what's gonna happen.
You got anything else?
I do not. Just, check out the website.
www.conversationconartistswithness.com.
Send us some questions still, because we're still trying to do that shit. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us. We have a Facebook page.
Conversation Con Artists.
Everything is under Conversation Con Artists.
The website, at Gmail, the
Facebook page. Everything. So make sure you check that out. Leave us some posts. If you see some
Twitter is at Convo Con Artists.
Oh, yeah.
Twitter is Convo Con Artists. It was too long. Yeah. Conversation. Convo Con Artists at Twitter.com.
So make sure that you follow us, and if you see some stories that you want to see us like talk about during the week, put it on the Facebook page, send it on the website, because we look all week. I know I do. Like, I'll be on Facebook looking for stuff all week for when we record, so that I'll know what I'm going to talk about. So if you see something that you think that we would find interesting, let us know, because we miss stuff sometimes. Yeah. I know I do. Shit.
Do it.
So yeah.
Anyway, until we come to the next conversation,
we out.
Holla.